I have entered my fashion phase, and this was due to a conscious effort to be on devices less. I should probably explain how all of that happened. So basically, one day, as you do when you're subconscious about these sort of things, about how much time you're spending on the internet, I installed a web browser thing that makes it so then it's really annoying to use YouTube because I have to question whether I'm gonna use YouTube for like a good 10 seconds before I'm allowed to open it. And I thought of other ways that I could do this, and something I've learned from quitting, I should probably say corn so I don't get demonetized or something. Something I learned from quitting corn is that you can't just stop doing the thing, you have to replace it with something. So I was thinking, like, what am I going to replace scrolling with? And I thought, well, what if I do reading or something? So I tried to borrow more books from the library than I normally would, and I borrowed, on maximum, on average, 3 books, and guess what? I borrowed 4, so take that. One of the books I borrowed, which I normally wouldn't borrow, is a book on styling and like fashion and stuff. It's actually a really interesting book. It's all about how to develop your own personal style with clothing and what you wear and stuff. And I never really think about this. I just grab a t-shirt and some shorts and call it a day. But from reading this book, I've learned a lot about my particular clothing habits. It hasn't fully kicked in, but I feel like it's helping me be a little bit more confident in what I'm wearing, I guess. Oh my gosh. I killed somebody. How many people are left? There's us and 2 other teams. How many are on the other teams? 2 people. 2 people. 2v3. 2v3. This is good. But we need to start getting towards the center. Oh yeah, I'm dead. Okay. GG. That was close. I don't usually get this far in this game. Especially while talking. How am I yapping so much? One thing I've learnt about myself is that pretty much every single day, non-stop, whether it's rain, sunshine, or whatever, I wear a jumper. And I do not care how hot it is. I will bring a jumper everywhere. My excuse for why I do this is because supermarkets have their air conditioning on maximum at all times, and it is so cold in there, bro. Why do they do this? I never asked to be this cold. So, just by the power of cold, I have decided that I only wear jumpers. To spite those shopping centers, you know. Very important part of our lives. Spiting shopping centers. I've also learnt that if the jumper does not have a hood, I will probably hate it. But I'm willing to give them a try, especially when I don't have a hooded jumper, because then, yeah, I'm just sort of out of luck, right? I have to do it. I have to do what you have to do. Ooh, gaming's hard. Continuing on our jumper shenanigans, I never had a good way to store my jumpers if it really was that hot, and I really, really needed to take it off. I would just sort of hold it, and that's sort of, yeah. But I've worked out a new strategy, and it's called tying it around your waist, and it's actually somewhat stylish. I don't know, it's cool. Fashion is cool. How have I lived this long and not cared about what I put on in the morning? So fascinating. And also, I'm an artist, right? So I overthink everything relating to art and everything. Now, was that funny word that I used in the thumbnail? Tomgirl? What on earth is that? Well, it's just my hopefully easy to understand oppositeness word I use for what would theoretically be the opposite of a tomboy. If you think of a tomboy, it's just a girl who has more masculine traits, perhaps, or is stereotypically seen more as a male. A tomgirl, I consider the opposite. So, a boy that perhaps has more feminine traits, stereotypically. It doesn't mean that they identify as a girl. It's just that they have traits that are considered more feminine than masculine. Now, I would consider myself a bit of a tomgirl, and there's a few reasons for this. Probably mainly that I'm an introvert, and that's very, very stereotypical, I'll be honest. But it's perhaps one of the reasons. Another reason is I have 2 sisters, no brothers, so it makes a little bit more sense when you put that into perspective. Having a female-dominated house, I feel like I want to incorporate that element of a little bit more feminine, but not entirely, into my own sort of fashion idea. So I've also been considering that a little bit and how to use that in a way, because one thing that I think is very distinctive about at least my definition of a tomgirl is that it draws a line between a regular guy and, let's say, a femboy, or perhaps a guy who's transitioned. I still consider myself a guy. I just think that perhaps I have at least a few traits that are stereotypically more associated with women. So yeah, God made me a tomgirl, I guess. So yeah, fashion is kinda cool, and I'm hoping to use it to attract furries, because I want more furries in my life. So, thanks for watching. And, I hope that that was somewhat entertaining.